Well, the reality of 2026 is actually quite stark. Beat. The real productivity gap isn't between those who use AI and those who don't. It is between those who just chat with it and those who architect an autonomous digital workforce.
That is exactly the dividing line. I mean, it changes absolutely everything about how we work.
Welcome to the deep dive. We are really glad you are here. Today, our mission is to unpack a comprehensive 2026 tutorial on this topic. We are exploring the multi-layered Claude ecosystem. Okay, let's unpack this. We will explore the three distinct rooms of this system. We have chat, Cowork, and code. We will dive into the power add-ons. Those are skills, connectors, and plugins. And finally, we will show you how to push this AI further. It can manipulate your local files. You can run automated schedules while you sleep.
It really is a massive shift in perspective. People often treat the system as just a single website. You log in, type a question, get an answer. But that is fundamentally incorrect. It is actually a triple product strategy.
Right, it's not just a single conversational interface anymore.
Exactly. Using only the chat window is incredibly limiting. It is like buying a massive professional toolkit. But then you only use one small screwdriver. You are missing out on incredible power. The ecosystem is actually three distinct rooms, and they all share the exact same underlying brain.
But they serve very different functional purposes.
Yeah, completely different. Chat is for fast, transient tasks, things under 10 minutes. Cowork is for long-term project persistence. It actually remembers things. And code is for local software development. But here is the critical step for any of this. You absolutely must download the desktop application.
I have to pause you there. Why is the web browser not enough anymore? We have been doing everything in the cloud for years. What fundamentally changes for power users?
Well, browsers are limited by design. They are walled gardens. They protect your computer, which is good for security. But the desktop application unlocks agentic features. Those are tools letting AI act without constant human prompting. The desktop app lets the AI interact directly with your file system. It bridges the gap between the cloud and your actual machine.
So real automation needs the desktop app to actually touch your local files.
Right, and without that, you are just talking to a screen. Establishing that we need the whole toolkit is step one. Now, we should look at the most familiar room first. We need to uncover its hidden mechanics.
That brings us to the chat product. This is where everyone naturally starts. It is built purely for speed and immediate answers.
Think of it as your everyday workspace. It is highly reactive. You draft quick emails here, you summarize uploaded PDFs, you can parse dense financial spreadsheets, you drop a raw CSV file in, and it reads it instantly.
But chat has a major structural problem. It forgets. Once you start a new conversation, your custom instructions vanish.
That is exactly why they built the projects feature. Projects are fascinating. Think of a project as a highly sterile clean room.
Like a decontamination chamber for your data.
Precisely. You can upload your specific brand guidelines into this clean room. You establish very rigid custom instructions. You might say, always use a formal tone and never use emojis.
And crucially, those rules stay trapped inside that specific room.
Yes. When you leave that project to ask a random question, the main system completely forgets those strict rules. It doesn't bleed over. It keeps your main chat perfectly clean.
I have a vulnerable admission here. I still wrestle with prompt drift myself. I keep forgetting to use projects and losing my custom rules. Beat. It just gets messy so fast.
Oh, we all do it. You start asking about dinner recipes in your work thread, suddenly the AI is confused. But inside a project, the system also quietly builds a background memory file. It learns user details over time. It just happens automatically behind the scenes.
And then we have artifacts. This feels like a huge leap forward in the interface.
Artifacts are essentially visual mini-apps. They are built right in your browser tab.
Like asking it to build an email generator with clickable tone buttons.
Exactly. Instead of just giving you the text of an email, it writes the underlying code. Then it renders the interface right there on your screen. You can click around and use it immediately.
But wait, if it is building software, how do artifacts differ from actual programs installed on my computer?
They are entirely temporary. They only live inside your current web browser tab. They do not save to your local machine at all. The moment you close the tab, the interface is gone.
Got it. Artifacts live in the browser, not on your actual hard drive.
Correct. So chat is perfect for these one-off tasks. But what happens when you need the machine to learn? What if you do the exact same data entry task every single Monday?
That is when chat becomes highly inefficient. You don't want to type the same prompt every week. We need to transition from a casual user to a system architect. We need repeatable automation.
This brings us to the power add-ons. Skills, connectors, and plugins. These separate the casuals from the professionals.
Let's start with skills. I like to use the analogy of a physical filing cabinet.
That is a perfect way to visualize it.
The AI only reads the detailed, step-by-step instructions when the specific label is called upon. It keeps the whole system moving fast.
Right. It does not read the entire cabinet every single time you say hello. It just grabs the one specific file you request.
And the mechanism to make a skill is remarkably intuitive. You do it naturally, right in the chat. You just run a perfect prompt until it works. Then you literally tell the AI, please package these exact steps into a reusable skill.
It is that simple. It writes its own documentation. Next, we have connectors. Connectors give the AI actual read and write access to other applications.
Let's break that down so it can read my unread messages.
Yes, that is a basic read action. Or it can write new tasks directly to your digital to-do list.
Yeah.
That is a write action. It essentially builds a bridge from the AI to your existing tools.
Wait, so if I have a connector reading my inbox and a skill drafting replies, do I have to manually trigger them both every time?
Yeah.
Because that sounds exhausting.
That is exactly why plugins exist. Plugins are bundles. They bundle many skills and connectors together for entire job roles. You use simple slash commands to activate them.
By typing /skill creator.
Exactly. You type that command and bypass typing long explanations. The AI just interviews you, it asks what you want to achieve, and it builds the skill automatically.
But where are these skills permanently stored so they don't vanish? You just said chat forgets everything when you close the tab.
If you make them in normal chat, they do disappear. You must save them into your dedicated workspace. They live permanently inside the Cowork or Code areas.
Skills vanish in regular chat. They need to be saved in Cowork or Code.
Exactly. Since these custom skills need a permanent, stable home, it is time to transition. We have to enter the second room of the ecosystem. This room is designed entirely for long-term memory.
This is Cowork. If chat is a whiteboard you erase every day, Cowork is a dedicated office. It is about setting up a workspace that remembers your decisions from yesterday.
The first requirement here is purely structural. You absolutely must create dedicated, specific, local folders on your computer.
Like a folder named Q3 Marketing Presentation.
Yes. No giant catch-all folders. Do not just give it access to your entire documents folder. That is a massive mistake. The AI needs a clear, isolated boundary to read and write files safely.
And inside that specific folder, there is a very critical file. Let's talk about how it actually works.
You were talking about the Claude.md file. This is essentially the memory core for your project.
When you sleep and shut down your computer, the active session ends. But the next morning, the system boots up and reads that Claude.md file first. It parses the text to rebuild its context window. It remembers everything from the day before.
2-sec silence. Think about how powerful that is. The context is perfectly preserved. It knows exactly where you left off. And then we add the schedule feature into the mix. This turns the AI into a true autonomous agent. You can set it to run entirely without you.
Whoa. Imagine waking up and the AI has already checked your calendar, scanned your inbox, and drafted a clean 8 a.m. briefing.
What's fascinating here is the fundamental shift in our daily behavior. You are no longer sitting down and doing work to create an output. You are simply reviewing the AI's multi-step autonomous work. It is a profound change in our human relation to software.
But I have to play devil's advocate here. What about the danger of the AI putting files in the wrong place? If it is running while I sleep, couldn't it mess up my system?
That comes right back to the folder structure we just discussed. Cowork is strictly restricted to the specific folder you assign to it. It physically cannot wander around your hard drive.
That's why isolated folders are crucial. It keeps the AI from messing up your desktop.
Precisely. Control the environment and you control the agent. It is entirely safe if you set the boundaries. Mid-roll sponsor read.
Okay, we have covered chat and Cowork, but there is a ceiling to dragging and dropping files. If you actually need to build entirely new tools from scratch, you need more access.
Which leads us to the third room. We are entering the most advanced, highly technical space. This is building software with code.
Claude Code is a completely different beast. Here, the AI is no longer contained in a neat browser window. It types directly into your computer's terminal.
Let's clarify how that works. When you give it terminal access, you are bypassing the visual interface entirely. It is typing raw commands directly into your operating system's brain. Yes, it is pure text-based execution. Claude Code can install software dependencies locally, it can spin up local servers, it can build complex programs from scratch. I mean, it is essentially a senior engineer sitting inside your machine.
But you have to choose the brain for this engineer. You have to actively select the model it uses.
Model selection is absolutely critical here. Models are just the specific neural networks processing your request. You have three main choices depending on the task.
Sonnet 4.6 is the first one.
Sonnet 4.6 is your best overall choice. It beautifully balances speed and extremely high intelligence. Most of the time, for everyday coding, you use this.
Then there's Opus 4.6. Why wouldn't I just use the smartest one all the time?
Because Opus 4.6 is heavy. It is computationally expensive. It is noticeably slow. You only deploy Opus for incredibly complex, deeply difficult logic problems that nothing else can solve.
And finally, we have Haiku 4.5.
Haiku 4.5 is incredibly fast and light. You use it for simple, repetitive tasks like formatting code. It saves energy and runs almost instantly. And beautifully, the system allows you to switch between these models mid-conversation.
Now, because this tool writes files directly to your hard drive, we have to talk about permissions. Giving an AI access to my terminal sounds like a cybersecurity nightmare. How is this actually safe?
Well, it is a valid concern. Beginners absolutely must leave permissions toggled on. The system will explicitly ask you before it runs any command. It pauses and waits for your human approval. It is safe because you are the gatekeeper.
But experts can turn those permissions off for pure unhindered speed. That seems like a huge risk of accidental file deletion.
It is a massive risk. If permissions are off, it will just execute its own logic. If it makes a mistake or misunderstands a prompt, the file is simply gone.
So should a non-coder ever turn those terminal permissions off?
Never. The risk is simply too high for the average user. Do not touch that toggle.
Keep permissions on. The speed isn't worth accidentally deleting your whole project.
Right. And there is one more advanced feature here we should touch on. Remote control.
Checking your computer's progress via your phone browser. It sounds amazing in theory.
It sounds great, but practically it has severe limits. Your physical computer terminal must stay open. Your laptop cannot go to sleep or lose Wi-Fi. There is a strict 10-minute network timeout. And frankly, it requires the expensive $100 a month max plan.
That feels very restrictive for an autonomous future.
It is restrictive. For real, heavy lifting while you're away, a server-based agent is the superior alternative. It runs entirely in the cloud 24/7 without relying on your physical laptop.
If building local software via a terminal feels too intense, that is completely okay. Not everyone needs to be a developer. There are much more familiar places to deploy this intelligence.
Exactly. We are moving beyond the desktop application now. We need to weave this AI into the mundane tools you already use every single day.
Let's start with the mobile application.
The mobile app is excellent for native file access. You can upload photos or documents natively stored on your phone while you are commuting on the train. It seamlessly syncs all that data back to your main Cowork workspace.
And then there is the Chrome extension. This has a feature that legitimately blew my mind.
You're talking about the Teach Claude button.
Yes. How does a text-based AI even do this? You click it, and the machine literally watches your mouse movements. It watches exactly where you click on a screen.
It is mapping the DOM elements. Those are the structural building blocks of a web page. It takes rapid screenshots, maps those elements, and translates your X and Y coordinates into an executable script.
So it learns how to navigate complex internal company websites just by observing you do it once.
It converts your visual human actions into a repeatable automated script. It is incredible technology.
And finally, we have Excel integration. We all use spreadsheets. It is the universal language of business.
Co-opting directly into Microsoft Excel gives the AI very special, localized powers.
Imagine a Tuesday morning. You drop in raw, messy CSV data. What happens?
It can physically highlight cells. It can write complex VLOOKUP formulas for you. It can conditionally change row colors based on subtle data trends.
It can generate simple pie charts of your spending habits instantly. But how does this Excel integration differ from just asking for a formula in chat?
Well, in chat, you get the text. You have to copy the formula, open Excel, find the right cell, and paste it yourself. The integration does the physical work for you. It manipulates the spreadsheet directly via an API.
It actually executes the math and builds the charts right inside your spreadsheet.
Exactly. It completely removes the friction between getting the answer and applying the answer.
So what does this all mean?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we are witnessing a profound evolution. We are building complex, automated systems now. We are using customized skills. We are establishing specific local folders. We are deploying scheduled agents to do the heavy lifting.
It is ultimately about buying back your own time. By architecting this digital workforce, you are saving hours every single day. You automate the routine, algorithmic tasks so you can actually focus on deeply human, important work.
But we want to encourage you to just start small. Do not try to build a massive, complex software project today.
That will just lead to immediate frustration and burnout.
Start with just one thing. Create one isolated project room for a specific client. Or package just one repetitive weekly email task into a single skill.
Take it one highly intentional step at a time.
It stacks up quickly. You build the foundation and the automation goes from there. And I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over today as you look at your own workflows. 2-sec silence. If an AI system can now learn a complex, multi-step task just by watching where your mouse clicks on a screen, how long until our job descriptions aren't defined by the specific software we know how to use, but by the entirely new, autonomous systems we can imagine building? Out to your own music.